Have you ever felt like your mind is a browser with 100 tabs open? One tab is playing a memory of an awkward conversation from 3 years ago. Another is projecting a terrifying scenario of what might happen 3 years from now, and several others are filled with what-ifs and should-haves. This is the weight of overthinking. It drains our energy, steals our joy, and traps us in a cage made of our own thoughts. Today's story is about a young man named Marco who was drowning in this mental noise until he discovered a simple yet profound secret that changed his life forever. The storm. Inside a quiet village. Marco was 24 years old, living in a picturesque village nestled deep in the mountains. To any outsider, his life looked like a dream, surrounded by fresh air, soaring peaks, and the quiet rhythm of nature. But inside Marco's head, there was a relentless storm. He couldn't enjoy the sunrise because he was worried about the clouds of tomorrow. He couldn't enjoy a meal because he was replaying the mistakes of yesterday. His mind was a high-speed train that simply refused to stop at the station of now. He was exhausted, losing sleep, and forgotten what it felt like to simply be happy. The journey to the wise man word reached Marco about an old man living in a remote hut at the highest point of the hills. People said he was once a world-renowned psychologist who left the chaos of the city to find Zen in nature. Desperate for a cure, Marco decided to seek him out. It wasn't an easy climb. He hiked for days through thick forests and over jagged rocks. Every time his mind started to spiral into doubt, what if he can't help me? What if I'm wasting my time? He pushed forward, driven by the sheer exhaustion of his own anxiety. The test of the water glass. When Marco finally reached the humble cottage, he found the old man sitting on the porch, looking incredibly serene. Before Marco could even finish explaining his suffering, the old man stood up and went inside. He returned with a glass filled to the absolute brim with water. The surface tension was so tight that even a heavy breath might cause it to overflow. "I will help you," the old man said calmly. "But first you must take this glass and walk from here to the very edge of the village and back. If you spill even a single drop, your journey here will have been in vain." Marco was confused, but he took the glass. He gripped it with all his might and began his walk. The power of absolute focus. The village streets were bustling. Dogs were barking, children were playing tag, and street vendors were shouting their daily specials. Under normal circumstances, this sensory overload would have sent Marco's anxiety skyrocketing. But today, something was different. He couldn't look at the mountains. He couldn't listen to the gossip. He couldn't even look at the beautiful sunset. His entire universe had shrunk down to the rim of that glass. Every muscle in his hand, every step of his feet, and every breath he took was synchronized with the water. He was moving with a level of intention he had never experienced before. The revelation. Where did the thoughts go? When he finally returned to the porch, the glass was still perfectly full. Marco felt a surge of pride. "I did it," he panted. "Not a drop fell." The old man smiled and asked, "Tell me, Marco, while you were walking, did you see the children playing? Did you hear the vendors? Were you worried about your future?" Marco shook his head. "No, I didn't notice any of it. My only reality was the water." "Exactly," the old man replied. "That is the secret to inner peace. When your mind is fully anchored in the present moment, there is no room for the ghosts of the past or the shadows of the future. You weren't overthinking because you were busy living the now. Peace isn't something you find in a different village or a different job. It is a state of mind you create by choosing where to place your focus." Conclusion: living the what is. Marco walked back down the mountain a different man. He realized that life is like that glass of water. If we spend our time looking backward or rushing forward, the water spills, we lose our peace. But if we treat the present moment as the only thing that matters, the noise disappears. If you are struggling with overthinking, remember Marco's glass. Stop living in the what-ifs and start living in the what is. The present moment is the only place where life actually happens. The moral: Overthinking cannot survive in the presence of focused action. By bringing your attention back to the task at hand, you reclaim your mind from the chaos,